This is the new Christopher Ward .12. It's a celebration of many milestones, especially surface finishing. But how they achieve this is kinda unexpected. Like most men, finishing is very important to me. Yes, I'm talking about watches, and whenever we're talking about watches, Christopher Ward may have been a name that you've heard of. Now, those good guys at that company have something of a proposition for us that handcraft finishing is not the only thing that we should consider, but machine finishing should be welcomed by the masses as well. Now, before Skynet takes over the world and we hold many companies responsible, such as Christopher Ward, let us actually listen to them and consider how machine finishing could actually elevate watchmaking. And that's exactly what they wanted to prove with the Christopher Ward .12 X or 10 or whatever they want to call it, because the press release is not very clear on that. But let us see how this latest release from Christopher Ward can actually elevate machine finishing to notoriety. Taking titanium further are three words that's not easy to say. Aside from being a tongue twister, it's also a bold claim to deliver. These are words that I would expect from a Tudor or a Richelieu, watchmaking powerhouses that has more R&D money to throw around than a media mogul. But never from a brand that's barely older than your high school graduate. And yet here we are, Christopher Ward delivering with some of the best values in watch finishing using this notoriously hard material, titanium. But of course, there must be a catch, because another phrase that's hard to deliver on is how are they able to do it? Our first catch is on catching the watch on this small 6.25-inch wrist. Yes, unbelievable as it may sound, it is possible for a fully grown adult to have such a tiny wrist. But this watch is more than able to capture it with its full titanium bracelet. Then you try and operate this contraption and you'll be delighted to turn the crown of this in-house SH21 caliber. It has a twin barrel setup that delivers a whopping 120 hours of power reserve. This aptly symbolizes the company's celebration of not just being in business for 2 decades, but is also the 10th year anniversary of the introduction of this British caliber. Now, eagle-eyed CW fans will notice that this movement has been used before in the C60 concept, a 42mm diver that was previously introduced for a limited time. This time around though, it's housed in a smaller 41mm case integrated design. The skeletonized dial of both watches delivers such an enjoyable dynamic experience as you see all of the gears turn whenever it's in operation. Even when you turn it on its back, the skeletonized rotor gives more than enough room for the gears in motion to be viewed. This feature elevates the 12 from an already good-looking watch into an interactive work of art. It also continues to feature all of the great stuff that makes the 12 a superb value, like this quick-release bracelet. I've compared this before with Tissot's PRX mechanism, but it's a lot more accessible and mounted on the case. But they didn't settle with just slapping on a new movement on this watch. They also added a micro-adjust deployant. Micro-adjustments are known to be very hard to implement on deployant clasp, but here, CW was able to pull it off on a titanium bracelet no less. I mentioned the equally famous PRX and how I compared it before against the 12. There was a massive disparity between the two watches, and I'd be sorely mistaken if I didn't take the chance to review them again beside each other. The initial line of thought is that the 12 is an elevated take on the integrated bracelet sports watch design that the PRX is playing in. The price was the biggest disparity between the two. Now, if you can still see a good reason to pay twice the price of a PRX for a good steel 12, would that reason still hold true for a titanium version that's 6 times the price? Well, many may not be so inclined to do so, but then again, it all depends on the market CW is targeting. They're clearly leveraging the in-house movement inside that is a whole different level of quality compared to the seemingly bland appearance of the Powermatic 80. I may have been unfair here on the PRX, so now let's return the favor against the 12. It's not often that we get to handle a $4,000 microbrand. So I snatched our store's Defy skeleton to see how it measures up against a well-revered luxury name like Zenith. Coming in at $11,000, the Defy is almost 3 times the price of the 12. It's the Defy's steel versus the 12's titanium case and bracelet. You can even make the argument that the 12 is more compact in profile. But that may be the best that CW could do against Zenith's offering. The finishing, the more technically advanced caliber, and the brand prestige can all provide a compelling excuse at going into a little bit of a microbrand diet in the hopes of owning one of these Defy models. Now, that aside, it's a testament to what this watch could bring to your collection, as it somewhat resembles a higher end luxury model from Zenith, but at just a third of the price. Value can be found in a lot of areas for Zenith, and the Defy is, in a way, their answer to the seemingly insatiable hunger of the market for sports watches. Zenith themselves created numerous Defy models since their introduction, much like the Tissot PRX and Christopher Ward's the 12. Now that you have a head-to-head sampling of what Swiss quality could be, Christopher Ward here may be punching below its weight class, but it's not that much of a difference. And that's the plan after all. Christopher Ward aims to take many of the luxury features found on Swiss brands, Zenith included, and deliver them to the masses at a much lower price point. However, to do this, CW has to resort to a type of finishing that many Swiss watches wouldn't even dare mention, though they are also using regularly like any other brand: machine finishing. There's nothing wrong with machine finishing. I'm just happy that there's any kind of finishing at all in many areas of a watch. That is the main draw of these luxury items, and without it, I might as well play around with my G-Shocks. This in a way has that G-Shock durability, as titanium is known to be a supremely durable material. The drawback of that is making it hard to finish. Special tools are needed to polish the facets that you like, and even then, you need to use different grades of titanium to achieve that lustrous polishing. CW used two grades of titanium here, with G2 on many of the parts, which is the more common kind, and G5 for the very shiny bits. All of these facets are carefully engineered to deliver the maximum light play at every angle, all the while providing a sleek mechanical appeal. A brand with a modest budget can do all of this in steel, and yes, let's not forget that CW has these 12s in steel as well. Producing this in titanium is a step up indeed, but machines are needed to recreate the same textures. Otherwise, manual labor for this would be a very taxing endeavor. So back to the question earlier, how is Christopher Ward able to do it? Well, the simplest and most straightforward answer is they raised the level of machine finishing. The brand was able to collaborate with the likes of Armin Strom and Chronode when they developed the SH21 caliber. They used the C60 concept as a platform to showcase what the brand can actually do. 10 years later, CW is now able to utilize a higher grade of CNC finishing technique that rivals the work of hands. Like in the C60 concept, that blend of meticulous open work manufacturing is fused with visual appeal. This loom, for example, is expertly applied at the perimeter of the dial, making room for all of the gears to be featured. So when there's little light to enjoy the dial, there is still a sense of practicality on this timepiece. Light truly becomes the third element between you and this watch, as it dynamically changes your perception of the gears. All of those careful polish and treatment of surfaces can be fully appreciated when light touches it at a certain angle. With so much empty space between the elements, light is more free to roam, giving you a much better sense of volume to the whole dial. And take away that light, and you're still left to enjoy that SH21's architecture. Okay, I had to add some sounds there. I swear the caliber is not that noisy. But it's just so satisfying. I just had to play around with it even in the editing room. This 12X is definitely priced way above the typical microbrand, and I believe it's priced according to what you're getting. Some will say, for that price, I would rather go for a more reputable and established brand. And Christopher Ward isn't? This British company has been delivering great and exceptional valued watches for 2 decades now. With the likes of the Belcanto, the 12, and the C60, it's got many highly praised collections that's now becoming household names in the hobby. A quick search on titanium skeletonized watches will yield a number of Swiss models that's all priced above the $10,000 mark. The closest that any brand got to the 12 is Oris, and even that is $2,000 more expensive. and that's thanks in large part to the brand embracing what can be produced using machines. Of course, there's no substitute for the human touch. We all know that. But for our watches, we need to pick out options. And if machine finishing on titanium would be this good, then maybe it's time to sell out more pieces and hunt this one down. Christopher Ward has did it again. This Christopher Ward .12 10 or X is going to be a smash hit. I know it's releasing today, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be sold out immediately. It's not going to be so affordable with that $4,000 price tag, but it really is delivering with what it's promising. Machine finishing at its very finest in grade 2 and grade 5 titanium, and of course that open work dial, that caliber SH21, that manufacturer caliber is the real main show here, the real showcase here. But they didn't skip on the little things such as that micro adjust on the bracelet, unlike me who totally forgot to film that. But thank you to Christopher Ward for providing that additional photo, and also of course by lending us this amazing watch that you should all consider. And I think Christopher Ward continues to be one of the powerhouses when it comes to independent watchmakers. I call them independent now. They're at a level higher than that, but maybe that's another discussion for another day. But speaking of discussions, let me know what you guys think. Talk about Christopher Ward in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think. The good comments will also make it into that show that's long delayed because there's a massive backlog of watch reviews that I need to do. But that will be coming. We will be discussing many of these great comments, and I would like to hear what you guys think of the new Christopher Ward .12 10 or X.